Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be comparing a 2022 Infiniti QX60 to a Lincoln Aviator. I know this is a weird comparison, but a lot of people have Googled whether or not they should get an Aviator or a QX60, and so I'm like, you know what, let's just do a comparison and try to figure that out for you guys. But anyways, first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with the Aviator. Check out the inventory link below. Let's get into the video. Now let's pop under the hoods of both of the vehicles. Starting over here with the Aviator, we have a 3-liter twin-turbo V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 400 horsepower and then 415 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 17 around town and then 24 on the highway. Popping over to the QX60, we have a naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6, goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 295 horsepower and then 270 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being about 24 miles per gallon combined. So this does get a little bit better fuel economy, but that obviously has more power and torque. Now let's go over the front ends of both of the vehicles, starting over here with the Aviator. You guys will notice we've got these prominent lines here all across the hood, especially that center one. It looks really good. And of course the lights decided to pop off. It's okay, it's just to save the battery. But anyways, when the lights were on, you guys can see the LED accent light, and then we've got the projector bulbs as well. Fog lights here at the bottom portion, parking sensors here along the very bottom here, and then notice we've got the massive Lincoln front grille with the Lincoln logo that actually has a camera built into the bottom of the logo. But yeah, overall everything's pretty rounded off, but it's a good looking vehicle. Popping over here to the QX60, which keeps its lights on, nice for the video at least. Notice how we've got these kind of like rounded off body lines. You've got the LED accent lights here with the projector bulbs, and then notice the accenting here off to the side. We've got the parking sensors here on the front end, and then we've got the large Infiniti grille that's all blacked out with the Infiniti logo there in the center. And then you guys can see there's a sensor there at the very bottom. But yeah, I mean, kind of you know, somewhat similar looking, but not really at the same time. They're both like rounded off though for the design, like sharp but rounded off. Now coming around the side here, let's go over the tire and wheel setup. So we've got two 55mm tires wrapped around 20-inch wheels with the Infiniti, and then we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 22-inch wheels here with the Lincoln. And then you guys can see the design here with both of the wheels. It's pretty interesting. The design is significantly different, but then the coloration on both of them is very similar. You've got the silver here on the top with the Lincoln, and then notice how we have the dark metallic gray kind of behind that. And notice how it like swirls. It looks really cool when this is in motion. Popping over here to the QX60, notice the same thing. You've got the silver on the top with the dark metallic gray kind of hidden behind that. And so yeah, I think it's still a really good looking wheel, but it doesn't have the same like motion appearance that you have with the Lincoln. Now notice we've got the plastic molding that continues all along the side here with the chrome trim, and then we have the blacked out mirror. We've got our Aviator badge right there, and you can kind of see how that all looks and how everything flows here on the side. Notice we have, again, plastic molding goes all the way down with a piece of chrome trim. Blacked out mirror. Wow, it's almost like they're kind of like copying each other. And then you can see how everything flows on the side here. Now this one has a black roof and then also black pillars, whereas on the Lincoln, notice that the pillars are black, but then the roof is body painted, so it just looks a little bit different aesthetically. And well, that's all for the sides. So here's the key fobs with both of the vehicles. They both have remote start. They both have automatic hatches you can open, and you can see how both of them look. So you press that twice for the Aviator, and then for the Infiniti, you just have to hold that down and then it'll pop open. You can see that one's open, and now the other one is. Now we're going to start things off with the Aviator and popping here into the back. You guys will notice we've got some storage space underneath here. And notice how this isn't metallic or anything like that, which is great for loading things in so you don't have anything nice to scratch up. We've got a 12 volts over here, and then notice with the seats you can raise and lower them, which is great, all from the back. And then also we have these massive headrests for the third row. I've noticed third row seats always seem to have like large headrests, but they're also like always paper thin because they need to be thrown down. So yeah, makes sense. But anyways, that's everything for the back of the Aviator. And then when you want to close it, you just press that button right there and that'll shut it. Popping over here to the QX60. This is a pretty cool party trick. So this just holds up when you put it up, and so that's pretty nice. Now, You can raise the seats back up, but you have to like manually fold them down. I think it's kind of an interesting system, but you know, it is what it is. Got the, well, it's not actually, it feels more plastic than anything else, but it has that metallic look to it for those. And also you guys can see the massive headrests. And then again, we can lock it, and then you can also lower it down with that. Well, you gotta actually press the button because, you know. But anyways, that is all for that rear hatch area with both of them. Now let's finish things up with the rear of both of the vehicles, and I've got the lights on both of them so you guys can kind of see the comparison. We have the light bar over there with the Aviator, and then here with the Infiniti, we've got really sharp LEDs, but it's not like a combined light bar like what you have with the Lincoln. But anyways, going over to the Lincoln, other than the taillights, notice how we have the exhaust tips out either side, parking sensors here on the bottom, then the chrome trim, bezel covering the receiver hitch, and just how everything looks. By the way, the backup camera is like right there at the bottom of the light bar. And just look how rounded off everything is. Now popping over to the Infiniti, you guys will see you've got all the logos here all over the back end. You don't have actual exhaust tips popping out the side. They're actually, one exhaust tip is actually right there. We do have the receiver hitch just down below the license plate cover. It's not covered by anything. It's just kind of hanging out. And then it's also very rounded off from a back end perspective. And so yeah, that's the rear ends. Let's pop in the rears of both of the vehicles. So starting over here with the Lincoln, and notice how we have the sunshade. Got the leather with the stitching, and then down below, I really like the interior color combination on this particular Aviator. Beautiful speakers here for the sound system, and then notice how we have the door lock and unlock window control. I can see another speaker there for the sound system, just very nicely made. And then this is for the electronic door handle. Pretty cool system. And then this one does have the captain chairs. You can see the headrests here, and then notice that you can use that to lower down the seat. We got really nice perforated leather here, and you can see that the leather on it is very high quality stuff. I will quickly pop in so you guys can see legroom and also headroom. And then you've got this little area right here where you can control the climate controls for the rear passengers. You do have some vents down there as well, and then some charging ports, and then this little cup holder center console thing. As for the third row, just like most SUVs in the segment, you can fit adults back there, but I recommend if you're going to do a long trip, just reserve it for kids. And now let's pop out from here. See ya. Now coming over here to the QX60. Notice we have a sunshade, got leather all over the door panel, just like what you have in the Lincoln, and then nicely designed speaker for the top one. The bottom one is kind of more basic, and then I like how that's illuminated. And then you can see the seats here. The headrest's definitely interesting, but we've got the quilted design with the piping and the stitching and all that, and seats look really good. Overall, you've got the adjustments on the seats, and then popping in again, legroom. Headroom. Same thing, you've got this little area we can control the climate controls for the third row, and notice how that's right down here you've got the charging area and all that fun stuff, and then we have this kind of like center console cup holder thing with some extra storage. Same thing with this third row. I would reserve it for kids basically. And we're going to pop into the front of the Infiniti first, and then we'll do the Aviator. So here's the door panel at the front of the QX60, so you can see all of the leather trim all over, really nice. And then you've got all of your controls here for the windows, the mirrors, got speakers here for the Bose sound system. We've got memory seats, got the blind spot monitoring as well with the mirror, and then you can see the seat here at the front with all the leather. Got the perforated leather with all the stitching all throughout, looks really nice. Adjustments on the side of the seat, and then this does have massaging seats. And then notice the pedal layout down below. We've got the steering assistance, we've got this for the heads-up display, and then we have that for the hatch. And then notice the quilted design here with the wood trim. Now let's get out of the cold finally. Start her up. Bada bing, bada boom. So you guys can see the startup animation, all that fun stuff. Here is the steering wheel. So you've got nice leather trim around the steering wheel. Stitching here on the center. This does have cruise control with, again, the steering assist. It's adaptive. Paddle shifters here on the back. We got our volume controls. Turn signal light stalk. Windshield wiper stalk. And then notice how we have the digital gauge cluster right here, which looks great. We have some different drive modes. We have our auto, sport, personal, and then our eco mode that you can go into. It doesn't change anything with the gauge cluster itself, but overall that system, that whole gauge cluster looks great. Popping over here to the infotainment system, first off we pop into reverse. We have a backup camera with trajectory lines. They do turn with the steering wheel. Got the bird's eye view on top of that. And then we do have, wait for it, regular camera, so you got the front view, And then notice how you have that view that changes, and then the full back view. As for the infotainment system, it has good response time. You do have navigation with it. There are analog controls. You can control the infotainment system, so whatever you want to use basically. So it's pretty user-friendly, which is definitely a good thing. And then notice we've got the quilted design all down this portion right here. And then you can see we've got the dual zone climate controls right here. We do have heated ventilated seats for the front, heated steering wheel as well. And these are like haptic feedback buttons, so they're pretty cool, pretty interesting to use. Overall, I think it's a pretty good system and it looks neat. We have our stop start button here, transmission selector, the drive mode select, auto stop start, that's for the parking brake, auto hold, and then this is for the infotainment system control of it, cup holders, and then we have this for the wireless phone charger, and then there's some USBs. We've got the center console, and then you guys can see that, and then also this is what that looks like when it's on there for the back passengers. They do have heated seats back there too. And then you can see the glove box. There's leather all over it, so you guys can see the interior with this. This does have a camera mirror, which is nice. You can't see it really, but there's a panoramic center here on the Infiniti as well. And let's head over to the Lincoln. Now here's a door panel with the Aviator. You can see again, you've got that two-tone design with all of the leather. We have all the seat adjustments here on the side of the door. We've got the memory seats and then more speakers for the sound system, which look fantastic. All of our window controls here with the mirror adjustments. Again, the mirrors do have blind spot monitoring. Notice that Lincoln is illuminated. And then here are the front seats. They look really cool. They look like they're molded for a person basically. And notice all the adjustments on the seats. And then you guys can see the pedals down below. And then we have all of our light controls right here. And then notice the leather trim here, and then the wood trim, and then the dash as well. And there's room to look before we pop in. So, stepping in here, got the stop start button up here. Got the cool animation with everything. And you'll notice here with the steering wheel, again, it continues that two-tone design. Notice the airbag cover is even wrapped with leather, so it looks nice and premium. We have our controls here for the center stack, volume controls, and then when you press this, it turns on all the cruise control stuff. So that's nice. And then also with these, so like if I go up to the navigation, notice how it changes with the screen right there. And it also changes with the center. So yeah, pretty cool. It's cool how many controls are actually on the steering wheel itself. Now, aside from that, we do have some different drive modes we can go into. There's quite a few. So there's normal, there's slippery, deep conditions, which is like snow basically, and then there's conserve, and then there's excite. And excite's kind of like your sporty driving mode, which we'll just leave that in there so you guys can kind of see what that looks like with the gauge cluster. But yeah, both of them have full digital gauge clusters, and both of them look really good. Now, as for the infotainment system, this one's just like this giant tablet plopped here. And you guys notice the navigation screen right here. Now, the response time might not look that great, and that's just because this has plastic covering over it, whereas the Infiniti does not, so that is kind of getting in the way a little bit. But without the plastic covering, this actually has a pretty good response time. This shows it a little bit better because it's actually able to kind of pick up my finger with the sliding motion. Notice we have ambient lighting, which is pretty cool. And then also with the seats, you guys can see this has massaging seats just like the Infiniti. And then from a camera perspective, we pop it into reverse. You can see you've got backup camera with a bird's eye view. You can zoom in there. And then we've got all the different camera views as well. And then if I put it back into park and then press the camera button, again, you got the front view. So they're, you know, pretty much just as good from a camera system perspective. And then here's those controls here for the parking. And then you guys can see this, you press it and it'll pull up this little menu right here for like the trash control, for example, camera system. And then the transmission selector. We've got our analog controls for the radio and then the infotainment system as well. And then you can see we've got heated, cooled seats here, and then the climate controls on top of that. So this is kind of like our analog section with really nice wood trim. And then you can see we've got this area right here, which is kind of like your charging area. It's the best way to put it. And then we've got some more storage here, and then you can cover that all up if you want. Got a couple cup holders here, the drive mode select, the parking brake, and then the center console as well, which is a ton of storage space right there. Looks really good. And then we've got the glove box area here. Nice storage space. This one doesn't have leather on the glove box, which I notice is a difference between them. Glove box still looks, I mean, it's down there. It still looks pretty nice in contrast to everything. And then notice the light colors here on the dash and then the wood trim. All of that looks really good. We just have a regular mirror, and then we have a panoramic center from this one again. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see. Sunglass holder here at the top. And then we've got universal garage door openers. And yeah, that's all for the Lincoln. Now let's quickly get into the pricing with both the vehicles. This one's stickers for about $63,500, that one's stickers for about $73,500, so there is about a $10,000 price difference between both of them, but I want you guys to still let me know in the comment section below if you would rather pick the QX60 or the Lincoln Aviator and why. Now that's going to sum things up for our video comparing this 2022 Infiniti QX60 to this Lincoln Aviator. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Schmiller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with the Aviator. Check out the inventory link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.